What if I told you Canada's housing market isn't broken, but it's working exactly as it was designed? We keep arguing about affordability, interest rates, immigration, developers, landlords, and foreign buyers. But what if the real issue is something much deeper? What if the way we've built our housing system is quietly turning Canadians against each other? Parents against kids, renters against landlords, buyers against sellers. Today, I want to unpack how we got here, why this isn't an accident, and what we could actually do differently. So if you care about the future of Canadian communities, stay with me. Every spring, Canada's housing market becomes somewhat of a reality show. There's winners, there's losers, who overpaid, who missed out. Our system is adversarial by design. Buyers want prices down, sellers want prices up, renters want stability, and landlords want returns. And somehow we've normalized the idea that housing, something as fundamental as shelter, is supposed to create winners and losers. But here's the problem. When housing becomes primarily a financial asset, it stops functioning primarily as housing. Over the last few decades, and especially during the pandemic, prices skyrocketed. Now we're seeing corrections in places like Toronto and Vancouver, and even those corrections haven't made housing more affordable for most people. Instead, they've just shifted the pain. Look around. Homelessness is rising, encampments are growing, young adults can't afford to move out, and parents are relying on home equity to fund their retirements. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The well-being of almost every Canadian household is now tied to housing prices going up. That creates tension. If prices fall, homeowners panic. When prices rise, young buyers lose out. That's not a healthy system. It pits generations against each other. It pits neighborhoods against each other. It creates a community and a country where we are financially dependent on scarcity. Think about that. We benefit when housing becomes harder to access. That should feel strange. Somewhere along the way, we turned homeownership into an investment strategy. We started believing that houses aren't just places to live, they're retirement plans. But here's the irony. Most homeowners don't actually win. When you sell high, you tend to buy high. The gains often disappear into the next purchase. Meanwhile, governments double down on expanding mortgages, lowering down payments, and increasing credit access instead of building long-term affordable supply. We didn't solve affordability, we just increased leverage. And that financialization of housing is the system working exactly as it was intended. What we have forgotten is that there was a different chapter in Canadian history. In the 1970s and 1980s, Canada built hundreds of thousands of nonprofit homes, cooperatives, mixed income developments, long-term affordable housing. According to the Parliamentary Budget Office data, nearly 87% of affordable housing still exists today that was built during that period. That is incredible. Co-ops today house roughly 250,000 Canadians, and they're massively in demand. These communities aren't stigmatized, rundown spaces. Many are actually indistinguishable from market housing. The difference is inside. Lower costs, collective governance, stability, and community. In Europe, social housing isn't just for the poorest residents. Middle-class families live in cooperative housing as well. And those neighborhoods are often more stable and connected and also more resilient. Reimagining the future. Imagine if downsizing seniors could reinvest their land value into creating housing within their own neighborhoods. Imagine if density didn't mean profit extraction, but community building. Opposition to development might soften if people believe the changes benefited the community instead of just investors and developers. But these models get a fraction of the funding and attention that market housing does, because our system prioritizes profits, not people. For decades, we've told ourselves a comforting story, that our homes can generate large profits and create stable, cohesive communities at the same time. The evidence suggests that is not true. The question isn't whether the housing market is broken. The question is whether we are willing to rethink what housing is actually supposed to be. Is it primarily shelter or is it primarily investment? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments because this conversation affects us all.